It is Sunday, the end of the weekend. Oh, what a week it has been. Not only did we get, I believe, the largest shadow dropped video game of all time with Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, we also got potentially a Game of the Year contender and maybe even the winner. No, I am not over exaggerating when I said that. On top of that, you guys have actually been killing it this week because we had our biggest TikTok, we had our biggest YouTube short, and last week's episode was the biggest episode so far. So if you want to keep destroying that YouTube algorithm, show me by hitting that like button. It really helps out the show. And on top of that, Slick has absolutely been killing it behind the scenes with the edits. Slick, what do you have to say for yourself?
Guys, I haven't left my room in 3 weeks. Please, for the love of God, subscribe to the channel so I can go outside.
Yep, that's exactly what I thought too. But of course, we can't continue with this unless we talk about this. The TSA in particular. I know you didn't see that one coming, but someone this week tried to bring a replica monkey bomb through airport security, and TSA, of all places, had to post on Facebook, sneaking in the words loadout, sneaking in the statement, what the frag? I know they say that Facebook is for the older generation, but this may be the hippest TSA agent as well as the hippest person on Facebook to this date. So what I am saying is this week may be the biggest episode of TWR so far. We have so much to talk about, ranging from Call of Duty to GTA 6 to shadow drops to an absolute failure of an alpha weekend for a specific game that I have not mentioned yet, and that is why this show exists. Welcome to the Weekly Reload. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Weekly Reload, the weekly show that comes out every single Sunday, giving you all of your video.
Dude, you forgot to bring me in the intro.
We're gonna do 1 week where we don't bring you up,
But man,
and then the next week you can come back.
They're gonna miss
They're
me.
not gonna miss you.
They are. They're
Just 1 week, okay?
1 week. Are you kidding?
Anyway, now let's start out with that shadow drop that I mentioned. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered came out, and it dropped on Unreal Engine 5. However, it wasn't fully on Unreal Engine 5. The gameplay and the combat are still on the creation engine, which is what the game was created on, but the graphics were then upgraded with Unreal Engine 5. I didn't even know that was possible, that they could do this. But on top of that, they didn't launch it for the full price, $60 of a full game. They dropped that down to $50 US, but there was a $10 bonus you could pay for the deluxe edition, or you could get it on Game Pass for free if you have Game Pass and upgrade for $10 for the one thing that all of us wanted and were worried that wasn't going to come back in Oblivion, and that is, of course, the horse armor. That wasn't all to come out of this game, because if you didn't hear, there was another thing going on where some developers, modders, were working on something by the name of Skyblivion, which is essentially a remastered version of Oblivion. And these people have been working on this for years and years and years. And as it turns out, Bethesda themselves dropped their remastered before it. So what did they do to make it up to these modders? They gave them all a free version of the game, which the community and the modders themselves seem pretty happy about. But at the same time, is it not like a huge slap in the face to the people who've been working on this? Just like, I know you've been working real hard, but we made it first. So here's the thing. I don't know, maybe it's not, maybe it's actually really nice. But the other thing that's absolutely wild is the player count peaking of over 180,000 concurrent players, which was more than Dragon Age and Assassin's Creed put together at their peaks. And this game is 20 plus years old, which just shows you how big this is. Also, the other thing that I saw was some indie devs were a little bit upset about this one because they were planning on releasing their game the day that it got shadow dropped, and they are saying that a giant game shadow dropping like this completely screws over the indie devs. But like, honestly, I feel bad for that indie dev, but this article coming out in general is probably more marketing than the game would have got as a whole. So the shadow drop probably ended up working out for you. Now, speaking of no marketing whatsoever, let's move over to Call of Duty, because this week coming up, we are supposed to get Season 3 Reloaded. We have not seen a teaser. We have not seen a trailer. We have not seen a blog post. We have not seen anything from Treyarch, from Activision, from Raven, from Verdansk, from anything. And yeah, that's supposed to be happening this week. But there was one other thing that happened this week, and that had to do with Ted Timmons. Remember how we talked last week about the creative designer behind Warzone, the guy who put out 500 quality of life updates. Well, yeah, turns out he got poached. And last week we thought he was getting poached by Nintendo. Turns out Fortnite was the one to steal Ted Timmons. So now they've taken first person mode, they've taken no build mode, and now they've taken Teddy Timmons to be on their side. And we can only assume that loadouts are coming next. Now, speaking of things that are not going well, Marathon. Now, Marathon had their closed alpha this week, which you could sign up for, and a bunch of people now have access to. And needless to say, the closed alpha launching did not go the way that they wanted to whatsoever. First off, the biggest controversy to come out of this is they launched the closed alpha with PC keyboard and mouse aim assist, which is normal for controller. And a lot of the times we see in Call of Duty, for example, people complain about the aim assist that controller has that keyboard and mouse does not. So Bungie took it upon themselves to try to level the playing field by adding aim assist to keyboard and mouse. And clearly there is a reason why this doesn't exist on any game ever, because everyone who is playing on keyboard and mouse are like, holy crap, it feels like I have cheats. I have absolute aimbot, and like some of the reactions looked like this.
USC reinforcements incoming.
War machine coming through.
Dude. No, really though? Like... Oh my god! Like, holy sh-
Now that aside, I would say the overwhelming sentiment for this game is people are just whelmed. There is nothing big, huge, or people like blowing their lids over this game. It's just kind of another extraction shooter that people are like, yeah, this is fun, but nothing is really standing out. And the player numbers have been dropping very, very consistently on Twitch, which is a very bad sign for an early build of a game. Normally, the hype keeps building, and that is not what is happening for this game. And that could very well be because the extraction shooter genre has gotten so much attention this week for other games as well. For example, check this trailer out.
Death hath cast its shadow o'er this land. All hope seemeth lost, yet still thou dost fight. Why? What seekest thou in the dark? A touch of warmth? A gold coin or two? No. Deep within these folds of flesh, you and I both know. Death has judged us rightly. For we are but beasts, unworthy of salvation.
So this is Hunger. This trailer dropped this week, and this is a PvPvE extraction shooter taking place in medieval Europe. Now, you may say that this looks incredibly familiar, and that is because it really does. If you've seen the Hunt Showdown, this game looks nearly identical to that one. And as odd as it is, the extraction shooter genre has become so big where we now have military versions of it. We now have multiple like medieval versions of it. We're getting a futuristic version of it with Marathon. And believe it or not, that is not the only futuristic version, because another one that has come out in the past few weeks with some trailers is a game called Arc Raiders, which, by the way, I have a feeling people are going to have some more information about very, very soon, and that's where this comes in. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the tinfoil hat segment of the week, and this one has to do with Marathon. I am calling it now. Marathon is going to get delayed. Now, There's been no announcement of this, and they even gave us a solid release date of September 23rd. But here's why I think this game is going to get delayed. Number one, the sentiment behind this game has been absolutely brutal. Whether you're talking about the art scheme, whether you're talking about the gameplay, whether you're talking about the mouse and keyboard aim assist, people have not been happy with what they've seen. On top of that, launching beside Borderlands is a ballsy move. Yes, you're safe from GTA 6, but Borderlands is like the other looter shooter besides Destiny, the game that Bungie makes, and launching them at the same time, Borderlands is going to take a big market cap away from your game. On top of that, I have a very strong feeling, just based off of what we played a good chunk of what will finally come out for Marathon. There's only one other map that would be coming out with the full release. I don't see people paying $40, $50 for this. I truly believe this needs to be free to play. And on top of that, as I mentioned, with Arc Raiders, another kind of futuristic extraction shooter that is seemingly coming out soon, will take more of the attention away from this game. I truly believe that this game needs to be polished more, maybe readjusted, redeveloped, and kind of re-looked at before it is fully launched. And maybe not, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it'll just be a flop when it comes out, but I'm calling it right now. We are calling a delay. Now, speaking of things that people do not want to see delayed, of course, number one is GTA 6. So GTA 6, we have not got a trailer 2 for. We have a trailer 1 that came out literally years ago, and we have heard nothing from Take-Two. But Take-Two is hosting another investor call on May the 5th. Now, the important part about their investor calls is that before the investor call goes live, which I believe is at 1 p.m. Pacific time, so sometime around there, just before that, they will release a statement which comes out with when they are releasing their next set of stuff, which is going to include Borderlands 4, which is going to include the Mafia game, The Old Country, as well as the next big one, GTA 6. So will they put the release date in there? Maybe, and we may even see a trailer 2 sometime around then. So that is when you're going to want to keep your eyes open within the next 2 to 3 weeks. That should be when we see our next bit of information. Now, another game that did not get delayed, check this one out.
Unreal. A wandering spirit seeking vengeance.
Who are you? I thought we killed your whole family.
The snake. The Oni. The Kitsune. The spider. The dragon. Lord Saito.
What are we going to do with this one, Saito?
I'm sorry it came to this, little wolf.
Now let's talk about games of the year. Ghost of Tsushima's predecessor, Ghost of Yotei, finally got a release date of October 2nd. So basically like a weekish after Borderlands 4, a weekish after Marathon, Ghost of Yotei is set to come out, which I think is a pretty safe spot away from GTA 6, which is what everyone is aiming for. And that one is, of course, a PlayStation exclusive, looking very, very similar to the first, maybe a little bit of more graphic fidelity. And I'm very curious to see more of gameplay from that one, to see what they've kind of improved on, what they've changed, or if this is just a number 2 to Ghost of Tsushima. Now, speaking of games of the year, the game that dropped this week is Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Now, that game is a complete and utter mouthful, but holy crap, is it good. On OpenCritic right now, it is sitting at like a 91 user score with like a 95% critic rating. It is incredible and doing better and better. The only outlet to really not score this well is PC Gamer at 70 out of 100, and I don't know what they're smoking over there, because we were able to play this one this week, and let me just tell you, the story of this game is absolutely incredible. The voice acting, absolutely incredible. You got Daredevil voice acting in there. You got a ton of other amazing voice actors. The gameplay is unreal. If you like JRPGs or even turn-based games, this is a game that you're absolutely going to love. There's tons to explore, crazy different environments. I am telling you, this game will be nominated for a Game of the Year, and it may even win. The only other game that might be able to take this one down thus far is GTA 6, but again, we'll see if that one gets delayed or not. And I was a little bit worried about this one because it didn't get much promotion, and then it got released right after the shadow drop of Oblivion, but apparently it has already sold 500,000 copies, which isn't anything crazy, but I definitely see this one growing and building, because the sentiment, the community sentiment behind this game has been absolutely unreal. The Steam player count is looking pretty good, as well as this is an Xbox Game Pass game. So to see a game do well on other consoles and sell well as well be on Xbox Game Pass, it is an amazing thing to see. And let's just be honest, what a week for Xbox. The release of Oblivion Remastered, which is kind of more of a remake, as well as Expedition 33, they are knocking it out of the park. And that's not the only thing that's been crushing it, because we have been crushing it over here on TWR. And that is thanks to you guys hitting the like button, doing all that good stuff, hitting the subscribe, turning notifications on. We're going to keep growing, and we're doing it together. Because guess what? There will be another episode of this coming every single Sunday. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time. Jesus, Slick, you just had to put that in. That's 3 weeks in a row, man. 3 weeks.